Chapter 26. Unscrew my head. Frisia was suddenly taken aback. Then he laughed angrily, hey, you really are an ignorant wild monkey, do you think that if you kill Sabo, you are qualified to compete with the king? Growing up so much, it's the first time I've heard such stupid words. It seemed that even his own father didn't dare to speak like that in front of him. This kind of words is really very funny and uncomfortable. Frisia, the teacher said you have some ultimate form, change it now. Don't let me kill you too quickly, you have no chance to transform. Burdock spoke with great confidence. Because the current Frisia doesn't have any aura that can threaten him. TCH. Although your joke is very funny, but you have p'd me off a bit. So I am going to kill you with my own hands. The sneer on Frisia's face disappeared, and it was all gloomy. This arrogant wild monkey is really annoying. For such an unhappy guy, he can only be strangled to death with his own hands. You, kill all Scion for me. Then Frisia spoke directly to the thousands of people under his command. These are just some small miscellaneous soldiers under Frisia, and the supporting scenes are enough. After Frisia finished speaking, thousands of universe people rushed directly towards Scion. What? A lot of people. It's like a locust. Our Vegeta planet, is it going to be destroyed? Scion looked at the scene in front of him, frowned tightly, and said in horror. Frisia is the evil emperor of the universe, and his anger is definitely not something Scion can bear. Like a locust, it's quite uncomfortable for me who has trypophobia. And when all the Scions panicked, Lin Mo suddenly said lightly. This time, all eyes were on Lin Mo. Everyone is wondering if this guy's brain is broken? Even at this time, saying such ignorant words to anger the sense of existence. It's just that Lin Mo doesn't care about their eyes. Instead, he slowly opened his mouth. Oh. Lin Mo brewed a sneeze that made everyone's jaw drop. Along with Lin Mo's sneeze, a huge energy wave sprayed out from Lin Mo's mouth. And it is an inverted cone-shaped diffusion shape. Covers all Frisia regiments almost instantly. Horrified screams sounded from the light waves. A Taoist image is like cooking smoke straightened by the wind, disappearing without a trace. At this time, Scion, who was behind Lin Mo and Burdock, was completely dumbfounded. A duck egg can be stuffed in the opened mouth. It is simply unimaginable that a single sneeze could instantly annihilate thousands of members of the Frisia Legion. What a big deal this is, I can't even imagine it. Originally they thought this guy was just Burdock's younger brother, that's why he spoke and acted so rampantly and unscrupulously. But now it seems that this guy is the real boss. The energy wave shot directly out of the planet Vegeta, and disappeared somewhere. At this moment, thick smoke billowed in front of Lin Mo and the others, and a smell of burning burnt their nostrils. After more than 10 seconds, the thick smoke disappeared. At this time, a huge conical pit appeared in front of everyone, extending thousands of feet away. A single sneeze can cause this level of damage, that guy is simply a monster. It's unbelievable that such a powerful creature exists in this universe. Fortunately, he seems to have a good relationship with Burdock. It seems that we, Scion, are about to rise. After the shock, all Scion turned into ecstasy. Maybe, with the help of this strange and strong man, the era of their Scion rise has come. Teacher, that guy Frisia escaped. Burdock looked up suddenly, and said. At this moment, Frisia was standing in the air with an angry look on his face. Staring fixedly at Lin Mo. At that moment just now, I felt the breath of death, this damn BD, I will never forgive him. Of course, I didn't intend to kill him, otherwise he wouldn't be able to hide from 10 of them. The next thing will be left to you. Lin Mo patted Burdock on the shoulder and said. Old teacher? What do you mean by that? Burdock asked a little puzzled. I just want to meet this universe Emperor Frisia, and now I have, so I'm leaving. Lin Mo said with a calm face. Chapter 27. Then teacher, where are you going after you are going to leave? Burdock asked curiously. Although he and his teacher have known each other for more than half a year, he has never asked the teacher's details. I don't know who he is or where he comes from. To a place far away. Lin Mo smiled and said. The place I went to is indeed very far away, even if Burdock gains more powerful power in the future, he will definitely not be able to go to the place. That is the parallel time and space of Dragon Ball. Except for those space-time patrolmen, it is estimated that it is difficult for others to possess this special ability. Hearing Lin Mo's reluctance to say more, Burdock was very knowledgeable and didn't ask further. Then teacher, can we still meet? Burdock asked a little reluctantly. Although the teacher is younger than me, I don't have the slightest sense of disobedience. I will definitely, and I will introduce you to some of your brothers and sisters at that time, but the seniority. I guess it's a bit messy. Lin Mo nodded and said. But he thought in his heart that all his apprentices will meet each other in the future. Is it Son Gohan calling Burdock grandpa, or Burdock calling Son Gohan brother? This is a more serious question. Yet, I'm looking forward to that day. Teacher's other apprentices should also be very strong, right? Burdock asked with some yearning. Of course, each one is strong. Lin Mo nodded very simply, becoming his apprentice, he is not just letting them break through the current limitations, but to help develop their own potential, so that they can grow faster. By the way, Super Saiyan is far from the limit of Saiyan. Remember, on top of Super Saiyan there is Super Saiyan beyond Super Saiyan, this is called Super Saiyan 2. Of course, there's also Super Saiyan 3, Super Saiyan 4, and Super Saiyan God. Lin Mo said to Burdock with a serious face. He doesn't want to meet next time, his apprentice is still at the level of Super Saiyan. Above Super Saiyan, are there so many layers? It seems that my cultivation cannot stop for a moment. With bright eyes, Burdock clenched his fists tightly and said seriously. I will definitely reach the highest level of Saiyan, and next time I meet, I must surpass the teacher. Yes, then. I'm going. After Lin Mo finished speaking, he waved towards Burdock. Then he looked at Frieza again, and said lightly, Frieza, enjoy the thrill of being killed, and look forward to our next meeting. After the sound fell, Lin Mo had disappeared. Ho ho ho, was killed. The gentleman who escaped likes to joke too much. Since he has escaped, it's up to you wild monkeys to bear my wrath. After Frieza finished speaking, she directly skipped the two transformations in the middle and became the ultimate form. Obviously, he was already very angry at this time. Come on. I'll show you too, the power of Super Saiyan that you fear the most. Burdock narrowed his eyes slightly, golden arrogance erupted from his body, and instantly transformed into Super Saiyan. What? Blonde Saiyan, what time was that guy? Seeing Burdock's transformation, Frieza panicked inexplicably. Because my ancestors had a legacy, never mess with Saiyan, whose hair can turn golden. At this time, the Saiyans behind Burdock were too frightened to speak. This form of Saiyan, they have never heard of. But they vaguely remember. It seems that there is a legend about Saiyan, that is Super Saiyan. At this time, Lin Mo, who had already left, seemed to be able to hear Frieza's sharp roar and screams. System, my third apprentice, do you have any suggestions? Lin Mo stood in the air and asked in his mind. Sorry, the first two times were to let the host familiarize himself with the process of accepting apprentices. In the future, the host will need to let the host choose his own apprentice. The system said very coldly. Do you still have this? Lin Mo was speechless, but he just needed systematic advice. Now it doesn't matter if the system has no suggestions. In this way, there will be no feeling of being bound by system tasks, and it will be more comfortable and free. Then the third apprentice, let's find the future Son Gohan. Lin Mo thought for a while and said. The reason why I traveled here is partly due to the future Son Gohan. If it wasn't for drawing that hero card, he wouldn't have died suddenly. Now that you're here, let's go see the real person and take care of him by the way. Chapter 28. And at this time, in the future time and space. Because of the appearance of Android 17 and Android 18, the whole Earth is like a purgatory on Earth. There was panic, and everyone lived in fear. Boom! The originally quiet and peaceful city of Pipa suddenly exploded, and several high-rise buildings collapsed instantly. Ah! The people who were shopping suddenly screamed in horror, and began to hide in all directions like headless chickens. Ha! Run away quickly. I'll give you 10 seconds. At this moment, the bodies of androids number 17 and number 18 slowly descended from the sky, and they looked excitedly at the people fleeing in a hurry. Seeing the panic-stricken appearance of human beings, they feel extremely excited. Although I don't think it's useful, it seems to be fun. On the 18th, the long and narrow Danfan eyes also showed an excited expression, and said while holding his chin with one hand. 10. 9. 1. With the sound of number 17 falling, the energy ball in both hands exploded directly in the bustling street. Boom! Ah! The sound of explosions and screams sounded at the same time. My God! The man-made man appeared in Pipa City, and now it has become a purgatory on Earth, and the defenders have been completely defeated. No one can stop them. The reporters of the news TV station are still reporting very dedicatedly. However, with the arrival of a shock wave, the sound also stopped abruptly. At this time, the super soldiers of the Earth have been killed. Son Goku died due to a heart attack and there was no special medicine, and then Vegeta, Piccolo, Kling, Tien Shinyan, Yamcha and other fighters were all killed in the battle against the artificial man. Son Gohan is the only one who can still fight against artificial humans now. It's just that Son Gohan at this time, although because of the death of Piccolo and Kellen, they became Super Saiyan due to jealous anger. But without the correct guidance, his strength is only at the initial stage of Super Saiyan, and he can't go further. If it is an artificial human, he can barely cope. But it's a bit difficult to deal with Android 17 and 18 at the same time. So after so many years of stalemate with the artificial man, there is no way to destroy the artificial man. Every time I lose and return. Artificial humans, unforgivable. Not only did they kill Dr. Gero, the father who made them, but they also killed some innocent humans one after another. They are simply monsters born to kill. In mid-air, Bulma was driving an air car, and after hearing the announcement, his face was filled with anger. But you can only be angry, because no one can stop those damn artificial humans. Twitter. The 17-year-old Trunks beside him gritted his teeth tightly. Those hateful bastards, I will never spare them. Trunks' voice broke through his teeth. Trunks, what do you want? Bulma looked at the angry-looking Trunks and asked. Mom, you go back first. I'll go to Pipa City and have a look. Trunks said with a serious face. I absolutely can't let the artificial man destroy it like this again. Perhaps the only ones who can stop the man-made people are special fighters like themselves. The human army can't deal with them at all. Trunks, don't go, you will be killed. Bulma hastened to stop it, but Trunks jumped and flew away. 10 minutes later, Trunks arrived at Pipa City. It's just that Pipa City at this time is already a purgatory on Earth, devastated and riddled with holes. Corpses piled up into mountains, blood flowed into rivers. But, damn it, I'm still late. Trunks clenched his fist tightly, tears of grievance and anger welled up in his eyes. If he had come a little earlier, these people would not have been killed. Call out! And at this moment, a figure fell down under the wrap of white arrogance. She was dressed in an orange exercise suit, with a black hedgehog hairstyle, and a big word was written on the back of the exercise suit. His eyes were full of killing intent and anger, and his body was unusually strong, but from his firm eyes, he could see fatigue and loneliness. Trunks quickly looked over. Brother Gohan, why did the artificial man do such a thing? With tears in his eyes, Trunks asked aggrievedly. Chapter 29. An hour later, son Gohan returned to Zidou with Trunks. Brother Gohan, can we really stop the artificial man? But my heart is ready to move. After all, I have the blood of my father's fighting nation Saiyan in me. Trunks gritted his teeth tightly and said. Trunks, you now remind me of me back then. Regardless of my mother's opposition, I resolutely wanted to practice. Son Gohan looked out the window with a clean smile. At that time, Dad died, Vegeta uncle died, Piccolo uncle died, and Kellen, Tien Shinyan and others. I am the strongest fighter in this world. If you even give up on yourself, then there is really no hope in this world. Brother Gohan, I'm really not reconciled. I'm not reconciled to letting those artificial humans continue to destroy the Earth. I want to become stronger and kill them. Trunks clenched his fists tightly, tears were already falling uncontrollably. Then pleadingly said, Brother Gohan, please train me severely. Son Gohan turned his head slowly, looked at Trunks and said, Trunks, those artificial humans are very strong, do you understand? Well, I know, but I will definitely become stronger and kill them. Trunks said firmly. Okay, then from tomorrow, I will start training you. Son Gohan nodded and said. And at this time, Lin Mo has appeared in the future time and space. Ah! It's really embarrassing. Lin Mo looked around at the destroyed buildings and said. I don't know if Son Gohan is dead or not. Then Lin Mo began to perceive a stronger breath. Because in Dragon Ball, desperate super warrior Son Gohan was killed by a cyborg. Fortunately, Son Gohan doesn't seem to be dead. After sensing for a few minutes, Lin Mo suddenly said happily. Because he felt two relatively strong fighting forces, obviously Son Gohan and Trunks. Apart from the two of them, there are no other stronger fighters in this time and space. Son Gohan's current strength should be the initial stage of Super Saiyan, if he is cultivated into Super Saiyan 2. Then one's own strength can be raised to the level of B. At that time, with some bonus skills, one's own strength will definitely far surpass Super Saiyan 3. Okay, let's find them first. After thinking about it, Lin Mo didn't hesitate anymore, and disappeared over the city of Pipa in an instant. When it appeared again, it had already arrived in the western capital. What? A very powerful aura appeared nearby. Son Gohan, who was eating, suddenly had a frozen expression and put down the chopsticks in his hand. Because at that moment just now, a very powerful force suddenly appeared. Brother Gohan, who is it? Artificial human. Trunks also frowned, and asked in a heavy tone. No. Not artificial humans. Son Gohan shook his head lightly, because the artificial man has no breath. I have known this for a long time after dealing with artificial people for more than 10 years. It would be fine if it was an artificial human, but now I don't know whose breath it is. The unknown is the scariest thing. Trunks, Bulma Ant, you two stay in the room, I'll go out and have a look. Son Gohan said to Trunks and Bulma, frowning. Brother Gohan, I want to go out and have a look too. Trunks clenched his fists and said solemnly. I also want to have a real fight, otherwise how can I fight against artificial humans? No Trunks, we can't act rashly without knowing the enemy. If I am killed, you are the last hope of the earth, understand? Son Gohan snapped. The two of them absolutely cannot be killed, then this earth will really be over. After finishing speaking, Son Gohan walked out directly, his body stayed in mid-air. A black figure appeared in Son Gohan's eyes. Who are you? Son Gohan looked at the man in black in front of him warily and asked. Because his appearance is somewhat similar to that of an artificial human. My name is Lin Mo, and I am here to help you and teach you how to deal with artificial humans. Looking at the big man Son Gohan in front of him, Lin Mo said lightly. It can be seen from Son Gohan's current form that he has taken a detour in his cultivation without the guidance of Son Goku. Because he has been pursuing strength training, he has neglected tight body training. So although his body is very strong, it also limits his potential. What? Are you here to help us deal with artificial humans? Son Gohan was taken aback suddenly, suspecting that he had heard wrong. I have never seen the person in front of me, and I have never felt his breath. Now he actually said that it was helping him, which made him hard to believe. What? You don't believe it? Lin Mo smiled and said. Judging by Son Gohan's expression, he knew he didn't believe it. Chapter 30. I really don't believe it, because I know that there will be no pies in the sky, and absolutely no one will lend a helping hand to strangers for no reason. Besides, although your breath is not weak, but if you want to deal with artificial humans, with all due respect, you are a little overwhelmed. Son Gohan said very coldly. Because this guy has no way of judging whether it is an enemy or a friend. So there's no need to be so close to him. Well, it seems that people who have experienced things are more vigilant. Lin Mo spread his hands, and then said seriously, first, I help you because I can improve my strength, so this is my purpose, so we have a bond of interest. Second, my strength is beyond your imagination. I can instantly kill those two artificial humans. It is undeniable that you are considered very strong among humans, but it is impossible for humans in this world to exist stronger than artificial humans. The reason why I have fought them for so long is because the blood of the fighting people Saiyan flows in my body. Son Gohan frowned and said. Obviously, Lin Mo in front of him is an earthling, and a pure earthling. Okay, since you don't believe me, try being Super Saiyan. It only takes 1 second, and I can beat you. Lin Mo stretched out his index finger and said to Son Gohan arrogantly. TCH, although I don't know why you know about Super Saiyan. But beating Super Saiyan in a second, you are too arrogant. After Son Gohan finished speaking, he clenched his arms tightly, and a terrifying breath erupted from his body instantly. It directly became a Super Saiyan, obviously already very familiar with becoming a Super Saiyan. It's just that Son Gohan's combat effectiveness is not very high. I want to see how you beat me in a second. Son Gohan frowned, and his body flashed out. And almost at the moment Son Gohan's body flashed out, Lin Mo also disappeared in place. Boom! Only a muffled sound was heard. Son Gohan's pupils constricted suddenly, and then the golden flames all over his body disappeared, and his hair turned into normal black. What? What? Son Gohan was as unbelievable as if he had seen a ghost. He completely lost his fighting ability in an instant. How is this possible? It is impossible for humans to have such a strong guy. And Lin Mo is behind Son Gohan, carrying his clothes. How about it, do you still think I'm bragging now? Lin Mo asked lightly. I'm really sorry just now, I thought you were an accomplice of artificial humans. 10 minutes later, Son Gohan quickly invited Lin Mo into the room, and said respectfully. You are like frightened birds now, your reaction is within my expectation. Lin Mo was not surprised, and replied casually. You said just now that you are here to help us deal with those two artificial humans. After Son Gohan shrugged for a few words, he got to the point and asked. Yes, I can indeed help you defeat artificial humans, but you need to do it yourself. I'm only responsible for improving your strength. Lin Mo said. Robots number 17 and number 18, I really don't take them seriously. It is very simple to kill them. But in this way, the desire of Son Gohan and Trunks to become stronger will not be so strong. Therefore, artificial humans must be allowed to resolve themselves. Enhance our strength. Son Gohan was startled at first, and then smiled wryly. Trunks does have room for improvement, but I seem to have reached the limit. I have been stuck in Super Saiyan for more than 10 years without any breakthrough. Especially in the last few years, there is no way to improve my own strength, as if I have encountered a bottleneck, or have reached the limit. Don't underestimate yourself, your potential is very great, but you have not been taught before, and your cultivation method is a bit off, so your strength will stay where it is. Just let me guide you, and you'll be able to advance to Super Saiyan 2 in less than a year. Lin Mo looked at Son Gohan and said seriously. Son Gohan's current foundation is very good. As long as he cultivates properly, he can become Super Saiyan 2 in a year, and it is a certainty. What? Super Saiyan 2? Both Son Gohan and Trunks looked horrified. They know about Super Saiyan, due to Super Saiyan 2 they have never heard of it. That's right, Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan beyond Super Saiyan. Lin Mo nodded and said. The only condition is that you must be apprentices, understand? If what you said is true and can defeat artificial humans, I would like to be a teacher. Son Gohan said with obvious excitement. But what will become, as long as he can kill artificial humans, then he is absolutely willing. Chapter 31. Of course, with your potential, I can kill them as long as I teach you for half a month. Lin Mo spoke very confidently. Of course, Son Gohan doesn't fully believe Lin Mo's words. He is too clear about the power of the two man-made humans. Then, teacher, can Trunks and I practice with you? Son Gohan looked at Trunks, then at Lin Mo, and asked. This. Let me think about it first. Lin Mo spoke hesitantly. System, can't we accept 2 apprentices at the same time? Lin Mo asked silently in her heart. Answer the host, yes, but you can only receive the reward of 1 apprentice. That is to say, even if you train Trunks to Super Saiyan, the reward is only 1 reward from Son Gohan. The electronic synthesis sound of the system sounded in my mind. Can only 1 person receive the reward? Okay, I get it. Although there is no reward, let's just help these 2 poor super fighters in the future. Anyway, one is also cultivation, and both are also cultivation. Okay, you can practice with me together. Lin Mo nodded his head, agreeing. I also like this future lonely warrior, even if I help him. Thank you teacher. Trunks thanked him excitedly. A person who can make Brother Gohan incapacitated in 1 blow must be extremely powerful. And at this time, the news of the artificial man suddenly appeared on the TV. Dear audience, the artificial humans have appeared in the city of Bliss, the army is completely defeated, and the artificial humans are wreaking havoc. All the people of Bliss City, please evacuate. After the host finished speaking, the TV instantly turned into snowflakes. But, damn it, these 2 damned monsters, I must get rid of them this time. Looking at the picture and sound on the TV just now, Son Gohan was furious instantly, clenched his fists tightly, and the veins on his arms bulged. Brother Gohan, I'm going with you this time. Trunks stood up abruptly, gritted his teeth and said. It is good. Son Gohan nodded, now it's time for Trunks to see what kind of enemy they are facing. Hey, wait a minute, you two, if you pass by like this, you will definitely be killed by artificial humans. At this time, Bulma quickly opened his mouth to stop. She's lost Mom and Dad, Vegeta, and now Trunks can't lose any more. Mom, if Bliss City is destroyed, the next one will be Zidu, I must stop them. Trunks said firmly. Instead of sitting and waiting to die, it is better to take the initiative to attack, maybe there is still a glimmer of life. Miss Bulma, don't worry. I will definitely bring the two of them back safely. After Lin Mo finished speaking to Bulma, the three of them had already flown away. Well, if Sun Jun is still alive, he can definitely deal with these man-made humans. Bliss City, at this time the sabers have been wiped out, and more than half of the city has been destroyed. Lin Mo, Son Gohan and others quickly locked the positions of Android 17 and 18. In a playground. SHHHHHHH. Lin Mo, Son Gohan and Trunks appeared in front of number 17 and number 18. Lin Mo looked at Android 18, after all, this Dragon Ball is the most beautiful. The looks are really good, and the figure is also the best one in a million. It's just that Lin Mo is not interested in this murderous maniac in front of him. If he lies next to his pillow, he will probably have nightmares when he sleeps together at night. What? It's you two again, are you annoying? 17 looked at Son Gohan and Trunks, and said angrily. This guy, every time he came to destroy his elegance, he finally ran away in despair. TCH, it's rare that you're in a good mood, and you're here to sabotage again. Number 17, kill them quickly. Number 18 also spoke impatiently. Okay. Then waste a little time. Number 17 spread out his hands, and then walked towards Son Gohan step by step. Yo, you even brought a helper. But even if you bring all the people on this earth here, you can't be the opponent of our strongest artificial man. 17th glanced at Lin Mo disdainfully, and then said to Son Gohan. In his eyes, Son Gohan is just a little tricky. Teacher, Trunks, step back first, and leave this guy to me. Son Gohan fixed his eyes, made a fighting posture, and said to Lin Mo and Trunks. The two backed away just enough to see if there were any shortcomings in Son Gohan's fight. Then number 17 and Son Gohan fought together in an instant. Obviously, the combat power of the two is almost the same, and they are evenly matched. TCH, it makes my hands itch, I'll come and play with those two brats too. Watching the battle of Son Gohan on the 17th on the 18th, I suddenly became interested. Playing. Then let's play. Chapter 32. Lin Mo looked at number 18 who was looking towards himself and Trunks, and said calmly. Hey Trunks, you go fight her. Lin Mo looked at Trunks and spoke directly. Hey? But I can't beat her at all, teacher. Trunks looked at number 18 with some trepidation, and said. Although he really wants to kill these artificial humans to eliminate harm for the people, he also knows that there is a very big difference between himself and artificial humans. TCH, you don't dare to fight, and you have the nerve to say that you have the blood of the fighting nation Scion flowing in your body. Lin Mo looked at Trunks coldly, and scolded with disdain. If a person is timid about fighting in his heart, it will be difficult for him to improve. Yes. I'm sorry teacher, I understand. Trunks looked at Lin Mo apologetically. When I first came out, I was full of confidence, but now I said such a thing. You two, who will play with me first? Number 18 looked at Trunks and Lin Mo and asked disdainfully. In her opinion, these two little guys are just two little white mice. When she gets tired of playing with them, she will kill them without hesitation. Let me kill you, so I won't be afraid of you, man-made. After Trunks gritted his teeth tightly, he rushed directly towards number 18. The pair of fists continued to blast towards number 18. But after all, the current Trunks is only 14 years old, and there is no way to become Super Saiyan. So his attack has no lethality in front of number 18. What's more, his attack is simply a waste of energy. Hey, what the hell are you two trash doing? Can you call this a fight? Lin Mo looked at Son Gohan and Trunks, and cursed in a cold voice. because the two of them didn't gather their strength at one point and increase their speed to the extreme to attack. It's a very messy punch, so the chance of hitting will be greatly reduced. And even if it hits the opponent, there is no effective attack. It is very important that such an attack method consumes too much energy. In just 2 or 3 minutes, Sun Gohan's physical fitness has begun to decline, and he is out of breath. When punching, look at the timing, concentrate the speed and strength at one point, and burst out in an instant. The attack speed must be fast, and the moment the attack is over, you must withdraw your own strength, so that you can create an effective attack and save your physical energy consumption, understand? Lin Mo's stern voice reached the ears of Sun Gohan and Trunks. Understood, teacher. Sun Gohan answered first. Then, according to Lin Mo's guidance just now, he began to exert force at the moment of attack to improve his speed and strength. After the attack is complete, withdraw most of the power. In this way, his attack speed and strength are indeed much faster. More importantly, this can effectively allow your body to take a rest, which can save a lot of physical energy. At the beginning, Sun Gohan didn't control it very well, but after a few minutes, Android 17 was completely suppressed by Sun Gohan. But, damn it, why did this BDS attack suddenly become so sharp, and his physical energy consumption seems to be much smaller than before? Robot number 17 frowned tightly, with a sad expression on his face. If this continues, I am very likely to be defeated by this guy. Although I don't want to admit it very much, it is a fact. Number 18, hurry up and get rid of that brat, this guy is a bit strange. Number 17 hurriedly spoke to number 18. Although I really don't want to join forces with number 18 to deal with one person, but now there is really nothing I can do. Just after 17's voice fell, Sun Gohan kicked 17 hard on the chin. Number 17 flew upside down and shot directly into the ruins. Ha ha ha. On the 17th, you are too embarrassed to be beaten like this. Number 18 laughed when he saw number 17 in embarrassment. Because of Sun Gohan's strength, they knew very well that he was not their opponent at all. I really don't understand why number 17 is in such a mess. Boom. And when number 18 laughed at number 17, Trunks seized the opportunity and punched number 18 in the face. Let the body of number 18 stagger. Number 18, who was still laughing at number 17, suddenly changed his face, and a somewhat ferocious expression appeared on his pretty face. TCH, just a brat. Then number 18 punched Trunks heavily in the face, and the moment his body flew upside down, number 18 punched Trunks in the chest again. Boom. Trunks tucked directly into the ground, showing a painful look. No 18's attack was indeed too heavy for him. Damn kid, go to hell with me. Number 18 squeezed out an energy ball directly from the palm, and threw it towards Trunks. Call out. In the next second, Lin Mo's body suddenly appeared in front of Trunks. He grabbed the energy ball thrown out by number 18, squeezed it lightly, and burst it immediately. Wisps of black smoke came out of the palm. Chapter 33. Hey! Are you going to go up with the two of you? Number 18 was startled at first, then looked at Lin Mo with a sneer and said. Together? You take yourself too seriously. Lin Mo also smiled coldly, and said dismissively. Even if it is a complete cell, it is impossible for him to be his opponent in front of him. Not to mention the mere artificial man number 18. TCH, arrogant guy, I don't know if he has the capital of arrogance. No 18's face turned cold, and he directly attacked Lin Mo. Anyway, no matter who it is impossible to be their opponent. Swish. Number 18 punched Lin Mo directly between the eyebrows, but he didn't feel any resistance. What? Number 18 was shocked when his own attack was dodged. Because that guy's body was clearly in front of him, how could his attack fail? Is the speed of artificial humans only at this level? Lin Mo raised the corner of his mouth and said with a playful face. Cut, it's just a coincidence to dodge once, don't get carried away. Number 18 gritted his silver teeth, and then punched Lin Mo directly with both fists. The fists were as dense as raindrops, but they didn't touch Lin Mo's body at all. What's even weirder is that Lin Mo's body has not moved from the beginning to the end. Good, so powerful. Is this the strength of a teacher? The Trunks behind him opened their mouths in surprise. He couldn't see Lin Mo's movement at all, but he dodged all the attacks of number 18. Obviously, it wasn't that the teacher didn't move, but because the speed was so fast that he couldn't see clearly. Of course, it's not just him, even number 18 probably can't see clearly. The gap between them is really too big. Is it enough? A wicked smile suddenly appeared on Lin Mo's face. Then he suddenly kicked out, the speed was so fast that there was no chance for number 18 to dodge. Boom! In the next moment, Lin Mo's foot heavily swept on No 18's stomach. Wow! Accompanied by a muffled sound, number 18 spurted a mouthful of blood from his mouth, and his body flew upside down like a shell fired from a chamber. It hit number 17 directly. Boom! Rumble! Then their bodies smashed into the rubble at the same time. Damn! How can that BD be so strong? Number 18 felt like his internal organs were about to be shattered by that powerful kick. Walk! Without any hesitation, number 17 grabbed number 18 and disappeared after a few dodges. His intuition told him that if he stayed any longer, he would definitely be killed. Damn it, let the two of them escape. Son Gohan clenched his fist tightly and said regretfully. This time they had a clear upper hand and had a chance to destroy the two man-made humans. But this time I missed the opportunity. I don't know when the next time will be, and how many human beings will suffer. Forget it, from now on, they will never be your opponents. Lin Mo appeared in front of Son Gohan and said lightly. If I want Son Gohan to improve his strength, he only needs to spend one day in the spiritual time room to successfully become Super Saiyan 2. At that time, the 17th and 18th will no longer be their opponents. Understood, teacher? Son Gohan nodded, he believed Lin Mo's words very much now. Because Lin Mo is really too strong, just now he avoided No 18's attack, and he didn't even see his movement clearly. By the way, teacher, how could you be so fast just now? It feels like standing still, not moving at all, and there is no change in breath. Son Gohan asked curiously. Because I used an ability called Flash Time Skill just now, I can jump for 0.1 seconds, so in your opinion, I didn't move at all. Lin Mo simply explained. This kind of thing is easy to display, but it is still quite troublesome to explain, especially for someone with the strength of Son Gohan, it is even more troublesome. Oh! Son Gohan nodded half understanding. Although I don't quite understand it, it must be a very powerful ability. If you're interested, I can teach you. Looking at the bewildered Son Gohan, Lin Mo smiled and said. Really, really? Hearing Lin Mo's words, Son Gohan suddenly asked excitedly. If I can really learn this ability, then my strength will definitely be improved to a higher level. Of course, is this false? But from now on, the two of you will receive my devilish special training, and you must be prepared in your heart. Lin Mo nodded first, and then said to Son Gohan very seriously. Chapter 34. Even the most brutal training, I can still persist, teacher. Son Gohan nodded with a firm face. Any cruel training is nothing compared to the cruel desperation of these years. In order not to endure that kind of despair, no matter how cruel the cultivation is, I will definitely be able to persevere. Well, Brother Gohan is right. In order to protect this scarred earth, I am willing to suffer no matter how much it is. Trunks also said with a firm face. Compared with the feeling of despair and suffocation, suffering a little is nothing. Very well, seeing that you have such great determination and perseverance, I am relieved. Lin Mo nodded and said. The three then went back to the Trunks' house, where Bulma made dinner and waited for them. After eating, the three of them came to the back mountain. This time Lin Mo doesn't plan to buy a spiritual time room in the mall anymore, because that would be too much of a waste of prestige points. And make them Super Saiyan 2 one day, and slightly boring the next. My next task is to successfully help Son Gohan to be promoted to Super Saiyan 2 within half a year. In this way, you will be able to receive the B-level gift bag, and your own strength will also be upgraded to B-level at that time. System, help future Son Gohan develop potential. Lin Mo ordered directly in his mind. As for Trunks, although I promised to teach him, the system did not reward him, so there was no need to waste 1000 reputation points for Trunks. Anyway, with my own teaching and Son Gohan's training partner, it shouldn't be too difficult for him to become Super Saiyan in half a year. Congratulations to the host, the potential of your apprentice Son Gohan has been successfully developed in the future. Future Son Gohan gained 3000% learning ability, the electronic synthesis sound of the system sounded from the mind. Lin Mo was a little surprised that in the future, Son Gohan's learning ability has increased by 30 times, which is even higher than that of the 4-year-old little Son Gohan. It seems that this guy just lacks the guidance of a teacher. Very well, next, buy a 500 times gravity chamber. Although Lin Mo didn't plan to buy a spiritual time room this time, the gravity room is still very much needed. Because the cultivation under normal conditions is very different from that in the gravity room. In the gravity chamber, the will and spirit can be honed, as well as the body can be exercised. Teacher, shall we start vacation now? Sun Gohan looked at the absent-minded Lin Mo and asked. Wait a minute, it's ready. Lin Mo nodded, and then ordered the system, bring Sun Gohan and Trunks to the gravity chamber. Good host, after the system responded, the bodies of the three suddenly appeared in a scarlet space. Teacher, what is this place? Sun Gohan and Trunks looked at the scarlet surroundings, and asked in astonishment. This is the gravity room, which can reach up to 500 times the gravity of the Earth, which is more suitable for training. Lin Mo simply explained. Gravity room? Dad and Vegeta also practiced in this kind of place. Sun Gohan thought for a while and spoke. It's just that here, I didn't choose this training method. The first is the funding issue, and the second is that I have to fight against artificial humans, and I don't have much time to practice. That's right, from now on, for the next 2 months, you can't practice as a Super Saiyan. And I will increase the gravity of the gravity room to the limit that your body can bear little by little. As long as you have a breath, the training will never stop, understand? Lin Mo said very harshly. Saiyan's cultivation method is nothing more than to constantly squeeze the potential of his body, constantly get injured, recover. Clear. Sun Gohan and Trunks nodded heavily and agreed in unison. Okay, then let's start our cultivation with 50 times gravity. Looking at the two people who are determined, Lin Mo chooses to start with 50 times, and Sun Gohan is okay, but Trunks must not be able to withstand higher gravity. Swish! The moment the gravity in the gravity chamber was adjusted to 50 times, the bodies of Sun Gohan and Trunks seemed to be suddenly crushed by Mount Tai. His legs suddenly went limp, and he almost fell to his knees. Especially for Trunks, the sweat suddenly broke out from his forehead. Is this 50 times the gravity? It's a little hard to move. Trunks clenched his fists tightly and said in a low voice. Come on, now you two start attacking me. Looking at the two with ugly faces, Lin Mo said coldly. All I have to do now is to beat them up and see if they are the same as Son Goku, Vegeta and the purebred Saiyans. Walking on the brink of death can increase strength. Chapter 35. Hey, the strength of the two of you is not enough. If you only have this strength, it is impossible to defeat the artificial man. Are you willing to watch the earth continue to be messed up by artificial people? Are you willing to watch your relatives be killed? Lin Mo yelled sharply while fighting with the two of them. The strength of the two of them is improving too slowly. If this is the case, it is really difficult to break through each other in half a year. You all have the blood of the fighting nation Saiyan in your body. If your father sees that you are so cowardly, he will probably be very disappointed, right? Lin Mo continued to anger Son Gohan and Trunks with words. Dad! We must not let Dad see us, we cowardly people. This earth is to be guarded by us. Son Gohan and Trunks clenched their fists tightly, with a fierce look in their eyes. This world is already riddled with holes, and no one is allowed to destroy it anymore. At that moment, the auras of the two also continued to skyrocket, and then rushed towards Lin Mo, attacking crazily. The two people who were aroused to fight, both in terms of strength and speed, had a significant improvement. Very good, if they continue to practice like this, they will definitely make a breakthrough in half a year. While coping with the attack of the two, Lin Mo thought in his heart. In this way, the three of them continued to train in the gravity room, and the outside world also had 6 months of peace. Because since the last time the artificial people number 17 and number 18 suffered losses, they have never appeared again. Obviously, they have begun to fear Son Gohan and the others. Of course, the most fearful thing for them is Lin Mo, who defeated them both. Western capital, above the bustling streets, rumbling. And when everyone was enjoying this long-lost peace, suddenly a building was attacked and collapsed. Hundreds of people lost their lives in an instant. Ah! Run, the artificial man is here again. When everyone saw the two people on the roof opposite the collapsed skyscraper, they cried out in horror. That's right, the man and woman on the top of the building are the artificial people number 17 and number 18 who disappeared for half a year. Ha ha ha, hurry up and run. If you don't run, this game of chasing will lose its fun. Number 17 laughed wildly. It's only been a month, and the two of them have been suffocated, and now they can finally come out to vent. This time, their goal is not just as simple as destroying a city, but the whole earth. They want to wipe out all the human beings on the whole earth. Build their own kingdom. Those killing tools are here again. Gohan and Trunks don't know where they went. In a small house in the western capital, Bulma frowned and said to himself. If Gohan and Trunks were there, they could at least contain the androids and allow more people to evacuate the western capital. And this time in the gravity chamber of the system. Ding! Congratulations to the host's third apprentice, future son Gohan, who has reached level C, Super Saiyan 2. Therefore, the strength of the host has reached the level of B, rewarding 5,000 reputation points, and the system rewards a random skill, Jebit God Instant Transmission, host's current strength, grade B, host remaining reputation, 6,200 points, the host's current reward skills, Chi Control, Kaio-ken with no side effects, 0.1 second flash time, Jebit's Instant Transmission. At this moment, the electronic synthesis sound of the system sounded from the mind like the sound of nature. Finally, it's not easy to teach a C-level apprentice. Lin Mo was so excited that he almost jumped up. After half a year, Son Gohan finally became Super Saiyan 2. His own strength can finally be regarded as the middle level. Thank you, teacher. If there is no teacher's teaching, I guess I will be at the Super Saiyan level in this life, and there is no way to break through again. Son Gohan suddenly said to Lin Mo very, very respectfully. Before meeting Lin Mo, he never thought that there is Super Saiyan 2 above Super Saiyan. Moreover, I used to pay too much attention to the special training of strength, thus ignoring the spiritual cultivation, so that I encountered a bottleneck and could not break through. You don't have to thank me. I said that I would benefit myself a bit if I taught you. Lin Mo said with a smile. Now Son Gohan and Terra are very excited, and at the same time I am very happy. Whether it's B-level strength or Jebit's instant transmission, they are all very, very important to me. Thank you, teacher. Trunks also bowed deeply to Lin Mo. Lin Mo's help to them didn't just help them improve their strength. More importantly, to save their world. Saved the planet and everyone on it. Chapter 36. Don't come to that fake set, you two are considered to be teachers now, you have to practice hard in the future, don't lose my face, understand? Lin Mo looked at the two of them and said with a serious face. He has a relatively lofty goal, that is, he wants to make his apprentice the strongest existence in each time and space. At that time, it's okay to gather all the apprentices together and set up a universe-first martial arts club or something. When all the apprentices gather together, it should be a very powerful fighting force, right? Yet, we will definitely work harder in cultivation, and we will never insult the teacher's reputation. Son Gohan and Trunks replied with serious faces. Okay, the cyborgs are here, it's time to show off your achievements in the past 6 months. Lin Mo already felt strong energy fluctuations. And it's very close. Cyborg. Have they come out again? This time I must completely wipe them out. Both Son Gohan and Trunks clenched their fists tightly. The cyborgs have brought them too much harm and despair in the past 10 years, and now their strength has skyrocketed. It's time to get rid of these two scourges of the earth. Ahaha! This feeling of killing is really exciting. It's been a long time since I've had this exciting feeling. Androids number 17 and number 18 were back to back, with their palms spread out, and the energy balls were shot out like bullets. Wherever the energy ball went, it instantly turned into ruins. Cut, those two bastards! Son Gohan and Trunks appeared in mid-air, looking at the destroyed western capital, they were instantly furious. Trunks, the 18th is in your hands, I'll deal with the 17th. After Son Gohan said something to Trunks, his body jumped out in a flash. Call out! Boom! Almost instantly, No 17's body was kicked out by Son Gohan. What? This BD, why did he appear again? I'm going to kill you this time. Number 18 looked at Son Gohan who suddenly appeared. Just when he was about to attack, Trunks turned into Super Saiyan, and his body appeared in front of number 18 in a flash. His right knee was pressed heavily against No 18's chest. Boom! Caught off guard, number 18 was thrown out and embedded heavily in the wall of the building. This time, I will give it back to you. Next, for the sake of all human beings who have been killed, I will kill you without hesitation. Trunks' eyes were full of killing intent and determination. There is no Scion's exclusive pride and embarrassment after the skyrocketing strength. TCH, you bloody brat, you dare to sneak attack me, I will never forgive you. 18 was obviously irritated by Trunks' attack just now. With a flash of his body, he attacked the Trunks. It's just that the current Trunks is already the second stage of Super Saiyan, and the artificial man is completely vulnerable in front of him. Call out. The moment Trunks avoided No 18's attack, he appeared behind number 18. For all the human beings who were killed, go to hell and make atonement. Before number 18 turned around, his body had been swallowed by the energy wave in Trunks' hands, and disappeared without a trace. Resolute and decisive, without any hesitation or carelessness, instant kill. Son Gohan had already killed 17, with just one move. SHHHHH. In less than 10 seconds, the two appeared in front of Lin Mo. Solved, teacher. Son Gohan and Trunks said to Lin Mo respectfully. The teacher not only taught them to become Super Saiyan, but also told them a truth. When fighting, you must understand a truth, when a lion fights a rabbit, it also uses all its strength. For the enemy, it must be resolved as quickly as possible. If they can be killed with one blow, they must not be given a chance to make a move. Very good, I am very satisfied with the battle just now. Lin Mo nodded and said. There are not too many bells and whistles, and the direct shot is full strength. What I want is this kind of decisive apprentice. Being praised by Lin Mo, Son Gohan and Trunks are still very excited. You must know that when we were in the gravity room, the teacher never said a word of praise, and he was very, very strict. Of course, they are very aware of the teacher's good intentions. Teacher, let's go back then. After solving the android, they should go celebrate. Okay, then I'll go have a meal. Lin Mo nodded in agreement. There are still 2 days left in half a year, so I can stay in this world for 2 more days. By the way, tell them about the dangers and enemies they will encounter next, such as Cell, and the little dark man Zamasu in a few years. Chapter 37. 2 days passed in a flash, and during these 2 days, Lin Mo also got acquainted with those master Rashis in this world. After all, there are not many familiar faces left in this world. Teacher, are you really planning to leave? In the sky above Zidu, future Son Gohan and Trunks were reluctant to ask. They seem to have gotten used to this teacher who is about their age but mature like their father. Yes, the purpose of my coming to this world has been achieved, and you have also successfully killed the artificial man and solved the crisis on the earth. I should leave. Lin Mo nodded and said. I am a human being with feelings, and after staying with these people for a long time, I will develop feelings. It's just that he knows that there is no permanent banquet in the world, and his current strength is not strong enough. In the eyes of those truly strong, he is like an ant. So on the road of becoming stronger, I can't stop for a moment. At least, that's how it is now. Since the teacher has already decided, I wish you good luck. Son Gohan didn't say much to persuade him to stay, because he also knew Lin Mo's character. Teacher, are you still coming back to see us? Trunks is still quite emotional. In his eyes, the weight of the teacher in front of him has surpassed that of his father who has never been masked. Look again. I will come back when I have a chance. Lin Mo can only answer in this way, because he doesn't know whether he will come to this time and space. Well, take care, teacher. Trunks bowed deeply to Lin Mo and said. Okay, let's go. After Lin Mo waved at Trunks and Son Gohan, his body faltered twice and disappeared in front of them. Teacher, next time we meet, we will definitely not let you down. Right. Trunks? Son Gohan smiled, looked at Trunks and asked. Well, definitely not. Trunks nodded emphatically. Even though the artificial humans have been eliminated now, their cultivation cannot stop for a moment. In AIG 774, the main time and space, Satan City. System, are you sure it's this time? Lin Mo looked at the bustling city under his feet and asked. Yes, the host, this system cannot make mistakes, the system replied very confidently. Then Lin Mo scanned the city below, whether it was some high-rise buildings or large shopping malls, there was a picture of a giant ugly man with a big beard. The owner of this photo, Lin Mo, is still very familiar. The world's strongest leak picker in Dragon Ball, Mr. Satan, the man known as the world's #1 fighting champion. Of course. If you want to ask how much water is there, it's probably as small as the Atlantic Ocean and the Pacific Ocean. Hey? Someone seems to be fighting over there. Anyway, there's nothing to do, let's go and have a look. Lin Mo looked at a building about a few hundred feet away. There were 7 or 8 big men with guns. It's clearly a robbery. And on the opposite side of those big men, there is a very familiar pretty figure. Wearing white baggy short sleeves, black tight shorts, and 2 playful ponytails falling to her shoulders. A pair of light blue pupils as clear as Wang Yang, filled with purity and justice. Lin Mo is very familiar with this girl full of justice. A girl who loves to uphold justice, Videl, the jewel in the palm of Mr. Satan, a real beauty, call out. Lin Mo's body flashed, and he appeared in the crowd not far away. A closer look, it seems even more beautiful. Lin Mo looked at Videl, pursed his lips and said lightly. In front of Videl, there was a big man. After getting closer, Lin Mo realized that this building was a bank, so it was obvious who these big men with guns were. You guys, let the president go quickly, or I, Videl, will never spare you. Videl slightly frowned and looked at the big men in front of him, and sternly reprimanded him. But in his mind, he was thinking about how to bring those thugs to justice without hurting the president. Little baby, I advise you to go home, it will be a pity to ruin your pretty face then. The leader, a big man with 9 points of qualifications similar to Sion Nappa, said with an arrogant smile on his face. You thugs, do you know that she is the daughter of Mr. Satan, her strength is comparable to Mr. Satan, if you are wise, hurry up and capture her. At this time, the president who was taken as a hostage said loudly. He wanted to use his reputation as Satan to frighten these thugs. Oh? Is that the shrinking turtle Satan who didn't dare to accept my challenge? The big man in the lead obviously didn't take Satan seriously, he squeezed his fist and said contemptuously. They are comparable in strength, that is to say, as long as they defeat this little girl, it is equivalent to defeating Satan, right? Hum. Instead of being angry, Videl smiled coldly. Obviously very arrogant, thinking that the garbage in front of him cannot be his opponent. Chapter 38. With his right foot kicking the ground, his body jumped up, and he ran over with a heavy sweeping leg directly at the big man's head. The movement is quite clean and neat, and it can be seen that it is very stable, and it has been trained countless times. It's just that she is an ordinary earth person after all, and she is a girl, so her strength will naturally not be too great. The big man raised his arm to block his head. Boom! Videl's leg caught the big man's arm, and the big man's body just staggered, but Videl was bounced back. Sure enough, he has some skills, completely different from the opponents he encountered before. Videl looked at the big man, instead of being afraid or worried, he looked excited. I haven't met such a strong opponent for a long time, I must enjoy this battle well. TCH. I want to scratch your pretty face into a big painted face. After the big man smiled strangely, he punched Videl directly. SHHHHHHH. 3 punches in a row, completely missing Videl's shirt. Then Videl jumped up, kicked the big man in the face, and then somersaulted, falling behind the big man. Bah! It's quite a double blow. The big man spat, although he was kicked, but with this kind of strength, he couldn't hurt himself. And just when Videl wanted to continue to attack, the 3 younger brothers of the big man suddenly took machine guns and shot at Videl's feet indiscriminately. The big man smiled sullenly, seized the opportunity of Videl to dodge the bullet, and punched Videl directly. What? Videl was startled because he was too busy dodging bullets to completely ignore the thug. Now I can't escape at all. Just when Videl thought that the punch would land firmly on his face, a black figure suddenly appeared in front of Videl. Call out! In the next second, he directly blocked the big man's fist. This person is naturally Lin Mo, who has been watching the excitement just now. Slapping a pretty girl in the face is very ungentlemanly and deserves a little punishment. Lin Mo shook his head lightly, looked at the big man with a slight smile and said. TCH, where did the wild boy come from, to dare to spoil the good things of our shark gang? The big man glared at Lin Mo, but pumped his fist hard twice, but couldn't break free at all. I'm so sorry, what I like to do the most is to spoil other people's good deeds. The smile on Lin Mo's face disappeared little by little, and he said coldly. At the same time, he exerted his palm slowly, and there was a crackling sound from the big man's fist. Ah, what are you waiting for, kill this brat for me! The big man cried out in pain, and yelled loudly at the younger brother behind him. Only at this time did the three younger brothers realize that they shot at Lin Mo indiscriminately. Chug chug. Bullets shot towards Lin Mo like raindrops. Lin Mo's right hand was like a seal, and he kept waving to catch all the bullets. It's just like pretending. What? This guy actually took the bullet with his hands, it's too incredible. Vidal behind him was momentarily dumbfounded. Receiving bullets from 3 machine guns with one hand is simply an act of a god. Even the strongest father in the world probably couldn't do this, right? Of course, not only Vidal, everyone present was stunned. They had never seen such a scene before. You are very lucky today, I am in a good mood, get out. Lin Mo threw it away, and the big man was thrown out like garbage. It hit the bodies of the 3 little brothers behind him heavily, and 4 big holes appeared on the wall of the bank. Gilu. Vidal swallowed hard, looked at Lin Mo with big watery eyes and asked, You, who are you? A magician. My name is Lin Mo, a fighter. Lin Mo glanced at Vidal, and after answering lightly, he walked directly towards the crowd. Ming people don't say dark words, I really like Vidal very much. But it's impossible to be a licking dog, anyway, she will definitely come to find herself. Lin Mo. A fighter. Vidal was stunned for a moment, carefully recalling the words of the man in black just now. When he came back to his senses, Lin Mo had disappeared into the crowd. Hey, wait for me, explain to me exactly how you did it just now. Vidal hurriedly ran after him. After 10 minutes, Vidal finally caught up with Lin Mo. Of course, this is the reason why Lin Mo walked slowly on purpose. Otherwise, Vidal will never be able to catch up. Hoo, I said UBD, what are you doing so fast? I'm exhausted. Vidal put his hands on his thighs, panting heavily, and asked with some resentment. What? What do you want me to do? Lin Mo turned his head and asked in a very flat voice. Chapter 39. How did you do it just now? Vidal looked curious, and stared at Lin Mo with big watery eyes, obviously a momentum of not giving up until he figured it out. How did you do that? Lin Mo went around on purpose, pretending to be confused while pretending to understand. You must know that when a woman becomes curious about you, she has already begun to fall slowly. So as a man, you must never reveal your own sense of mystery from the very beginning. You must always let her feel how powerful you are, so that she can be firmly tied to a woman. It's just, how could you catch so many bullets with your bare hands? This is simply not something that normal people can do. Vidal looked curious and shocked at the same time, the scene just now was indeed too shocking for her. Then how do you understand it? Lin Mo smiled and asked back. Magic or blindfolding? Vidal said with some embarrassment. But she believed her eyes, it was definitely not magic just now, because those thugs were indeed caught. Your father told you, right? Lin Mo suppressed a smile and asked. This style of behavior is quite similar to that of Mr. Satan. In his eyes, what he can't do is illusion, blindfold and so on. You, how do you know? Vidal asked in surprise, but he figured it out after thinking about it. Dad is the strongest man in the world, how could anyone not know? Don't change the subject, how did you do it just now? Vidal stared at Lin Mo closely, with his hands on his hips, looking like a young lady. I can tell you, but there is one condition, you have to recognize me as a teacher. Lin Mo narrowed his eyes and smiled, and said. Teacher? Are you kidding me? My dad is the strongest man in the world. If you want to be my teacher, you have to beat my dad. Vidal pouted and said to Lin Mo proudly. This incident really made her very proud, not that she would be respected wherever she went. It's because Dad is a great hero who has saved the world several times. What a poor baby. Lin Mo shook his head and smiled helplessly. The highest level of deception is to deceive oneself. Obviously Mr. Satan has already done it, and it is close to perfection. Okay. Then it's a deal, and I will challenge your father then. Now let me tell you, why can I catch bullets with my bare hands? First of all, there is something called qi in the human body. When the qi in the body reaches a certain strength, it can be released in the form of qi blast, which can be used for attack or defense. Lin Mo explained carefully. Air? What is that? Vidal asked with a puzzled face, it was the first time he heard such a thing. About this qi, it's quite troublesome to explain, it's probably like this. After Lin Mo finished speaking, he flicked his hand, and a ki blast blasted out from his palm, hitting a 100-meter peak hundreds of meters away. Rumbling. The next moment, the peak was instantly shattered, collapsed, and turned into pieces of rubble. Full marks, simply perfect. What? What? Vidal's eyes widened in an instant, the eyeballs almost popped out. Impossible, this must be an illusion. It was almost like magic, completely unbelievable. This is the attack of Qi, do you see it clearly? Looking at Vidal, who was beyond shocked, Lin Mo smiled and said. Vidal's reaction is also expected, after all, she has never been exposed to such things. It was indeed a bit too shocking for her. Isn't this really magic? Vidal shook his head vigorously, forced himself to calm down, and asked with a confused face. Of course not, there are many kinds of Qi attacks, another example. Before Lin Mo's voice fell, a finger beam suddenly shot out from his fingertips. Boom! When the light fell on a tree not far away, the trunk was cut off directly, and the cut was scorched black. I recognize you as a teacher, can you teach me these things? After looking at the flattened mountain and the severed tree in front of him, Vidal said to Lin Mo without any hesitation. Although she was very proud, she was really fascinated by Lin Mo's methods just now. It would be great if I could become so powerful, I guess all the weirdos would not be my opponents. Of course, but, don't you need to challenge your father now? Looking at the excited Vidal, Lin Mo said with a smile. Although I don't want to believe it, Dad may not be able to do such a thing. Vidal gritted his teeth, frowned slightly, and said. Okay, then from now on, I will teach you how to control Qi. Lin Mo nodded and agreed. Although this apprentice may not be able to bring him too many rewards, but his ambition is not here. Chapter 40. Okay, let's stop here today, and I will teach you other things when I have a chance later. 3 hours later, Lin Mo said to Vidal. I didn't spend 1000 reputation points to help Vidal develop his potential, because although Vidal is good at martial arts, her potential as an ordinary earthling is too weak. Even after development, it is estimated that there will not be much improvement. So there is no need to spend too much reputation on Vidal, my purpose is to impress her first. But now, I have to quickly find a way to raise my strength to A level, so that I can be regarded as a master. Whether it's Super Saiyan 4, or Super Saiyan God, it's up to you to stand against them all. Hey? But I haven't learned how to control Qi yet. Vidal said to Lin Mo with some dissatisfaction. Originally, she thought that her learning ability was quite strong, but Lin Mo had taught her for so long just now, and she hadn't learned to control her Qi. This made her feel somewhat shocked. You have to learn to control your Qi. This is not something that can be accomplished overnight. After you go back, you should understand what I said carefully, and then practice a lot by yourself. Lin Mo explained. Before this kind of thing has been touched, it may take at least 7 or 8 days to understand a little bit. If you want to control it well, it will take more time. Okay then. But if there is something I don't understand, where should I find you? Vidal asked again. If you can't find Lin Mo by then, it will be quite troublesome. Don't worry. I will come to you in 10 days. Practice well, and hope that after 10 days, you won't let me down. After Lin Mo finished speaking, his body suddenly disappeared in front of Vidal. Disappeared. How is it possible? Seeing a large living person disappearing in front of him without warning, Vidal was extremely shocked. At the same time, my curiosity about Lin Mo is getting stronger and stronger. I must find out your identity, just wait. Lin Mo. Vidal squeezed his fist and said firmly. As everyone knows, when a woman becomes curious about a man, it is the beginning of her fall. After Lin Mo disappeared, he appeared on a mountain top. My goal has been achieved, Vidal must be very curious about her now, and it is estimated that she will continue to come to him in the future. So now, it's time for me to get down to business. In the next 6 months, let your strength break through to A level. Of course, this means that he needs to train a B-level apprentice. Super Saiyan 3. But at this time period, Son Goku should be dead, and Vegeta's strength, I don't know if it is Super Saiyan 2. I remember that Vegeta became Super Saiyan 2 after being controlled by Bafidi. Lin Mo began to calculate in his heart. But at that time, because Vegeta hadn't shown his strength before, it is very likely that he reached Super Saiyan 2 before being controlled by Bafidi. But when Son Goku showed his strength by killing Yej, Vegeta felt that even if he became Super Saiyan 2, he was no match for Son Goku, so he voluntarily was controlled by Bafidi. If he hadn't reached Super Saiyan 2, he wouldn't have been able to see Son Gohan, obviously so confident. Forget it, no amount of reasoning is useless, let's go and see for ourselves. With this in mind, Lin Mo cast instant transmission and appeared at Vegeta's home. Swish! The moment Lin Mo appeared, Vegeta rushed out of the gravity chamber directly. Who are you? Vegeta stared at Lin Mo and asked coldly. But the moment the voice fell, a look of incomparable horror appeared on his face. And then the horror turned to anger. TCH. It's you BD. Vegeta frowned tightly, clenched his fists and glared at Lin Mo. That's right, I saw this BD 10 years ago, and with a casual blow, I completely lost my fighting power. Son Gohan, that kid's teacher. Yo, I didn't expect Mrs. King Vegeta to still remember me. Lin Mo smiled coldly and said. How could I forget you BD, what are you doing at my house? Vegeta asked angrily. Of course I'm looking for you. Before Lin Mo's words fell, Bulma walked out of the room. Hey Vegeta, are there any guests? Why don't you come in? Bulma looked at Lin Mo and said with a smile. That young man looks quite handsome. Then speak again, Vegeta, I didn't expect you to have friends. Go back to the house. Vegeta spoke directly to Bulma. The guy in front of him has an unknown purpose, but he will never let his family get hurt. Oh, I see. Bulma saw that Vegeta didn't seem to be joking, so he hurried in. Chapter 41. I have something to do with you, let's go. After Lin Mo finished speaking, he flashed out and disappeared into the courtyard. Vegeta gritted his teeth tightly, and also followed, not knowing where this BD was going to take him. What is his purpose? SHHHHH. The bodies of Lin Mo and Vegeta appeared in a valley at the same time. Cut, hurry up and tell me what is your purpose? Vegeta asked indifferently. If he hadn't felt a very dangerous feeling from this guy's body, he would have pushed him to the ground and exploded with the hammer. System, buy a gravity chamber with 10 times the gravity. Lin Mo said directly in his heart. Good host, the purchase has been successful. Electronic synthesis sounded in my mind. Take Vegeta into the gravity chamber. After Lin Mo finished speaking, his body and Vegeta's body appeared in the gravity chamber at the same time. Because if he was outside, he was afraid that the noise would be too loud. What is this place, what did you bring me here for? Vegeta asked with a hostile look on his face. This is the gravity room, it's just the gravity room that I control. As for what I want to do, you will know right away. The moment Lin Mo's voice fell, his eyes narrowed slightly, and then his body flashed out, directly attacking Vegeta. Lin Mo's speed was very fast, he appeared in front of Vegeta almost instantly, and punched Vegeta. Seeing this, Vegeta quickly crossed his arms in front of his chest, blocking Lin Mo's fist. Boom! Although most of the strength was removed from the arms, the rest of the force still sent Vegeta flying. The vigilance is quite high. Lin Mo said with a smile. This is Vegeta's strength, but also his weakness. The advantage is that you can keep your body in a tight defensive state at any time, so that others have no chance to sneak attack. The possibility of being killed by a laser gun is almost non-existent. But the disadvantage is that you make your body too tense, so that you will have concerns in your heart whether you are attacking or avoiding attacks. There's no way to go all out, which is why in Dragon Ball Ultra, Son Goku was able to comprehend the Ultra Instinct, but Vegeta couldn't. Chien, you damned BD, dare to sneak up on labor and capital. Enraged by Lin Mo's sudden attack, Vegeta clenched his fists tightly. Golden flames erupted from his body in an instant, and his golden hair stood up high. The pupils turned light green, apparently Super Saiyan. The current self is not the trash that only had 18,000 fighting power 10 years ago. Isn't that all your strength? Use all your strength. Vegeta, let me see if you are worth cultivating. Lin Mo looked at Vegeta, who turned into Super Saiyan, and said lightly. If it's just Super Saiyan, I don't have the value of nurturing him at all. Because there is no way to raise your own strength to A level. Humph. You probably don't know how powerful Super Saiyan is. Now I'll show you the power of Super Saiyan. Vegeta suddenly smiled coldly and said proudly. In his opinion, no matter how powerful the human being in front of him is, it is absolutely impossible for him to be the opponent of Speed Party Vegeta. Without waiting for Lin Mo to speak, Vegeta directly attacked. His plan was to punch this unpleasant human being. Boom! A muffled grunt sounded, and the pride on Vegeta's face suddenly froze, and his pupils shrank tightly. No! Impossible! There was a terrified murmur in his mouth. And Lin Mo's knee was tightly attached to Vegeta's lower abdomen. I said, use all your strength. Lin Mo put his right index finger against Vegeta's brow, and said lightly. TCH. Absolutely unforgivable. Vegeta's facial features twisted in an instant, obviously extremely angry. Unexpectedly, Super Saiyan, whom I am proud of, could not withstand Lin Mo's blow. More importantly, I didn't see his movements clearly at all. Haha. Immediately afterwards, Vegeta clenched his fists tightly, bowed his body, and opened a posture directly. The golden arrogance exploded instantly, and at the same time, streaks of lightning appeared around Vegeta's body. Rustle. There was a muffled sound from the flames, and Vegeta had clearly turned into Super Saiyan 2. Not just the lightning around him. It is also because of Vegeta's aura that it has skyrocketed a lot, and it is definitely not the aura that Super Saiyan has. Super Saiyan 2? It's so cute. Lin Mo pursed his lips excitedly, looked at Vegeta and said. Chapter 42. Damn BD, now I will let you feel the power of Super Saiyan beyond Super Saiyan. After Vegeta became Super Saiyan, he became obviously more arrogant. After all, Super Saiyan 2 and Super Saiyan, there are some essential differences, and the difference in strength is definitely not a star and a half. Don't be too confident, otherwise you may become autistic in a while. Lin Mo didn't pay attention to Vegeta's Super Saiyan 2 at all. Now, his strength has already reached the level of Super Saiyan San, and with his 100 times Kaio-ken and Flash Time skills, he can completely defeat Super Saiyan Son Goku in an instant. So Vegeta was vulnerable in front of him. Oh yeah? Then I want to see how you shut me down in Super Saiyan 2. The corner of Vegeta's mouth raised, he didn't take Lin Mo's words to heart at all. It's just a person on Earth, and it's the limit to be able to reach the level of Super Saiyan. It is absolutely impossible to compete with Super Saiyan 2. I've never heard of such a cheap request in my life. Lin Mo shook his head, smiled slightly and said. Vegeta was once again irritated by Lin Mo's calm expression. He is a dignified fast party Vegeta, and he dared to look down on him. After gritting his teeth, Vegeta punched Lin Mo directly. This time's attack is obviously completely different from the previous ones in terms of speed and power. Of course, there is only a difference. In Lin Mo's eyes, the difference is not that big. Anyway, it is impossible for him to touch his own body. Audiobook. Vegeta's fists hit Lin Mo like raindrops. But Lin Mo stood there, motionless, but Vegeta's fists penetrated Lin Mo's body one by one. Obviously, all Vegeta's hits were after images, so far no effective attacks at all. Impossible, I have already hit him. But why, every time my attack always fails? Vegeta became more and more shocked and anxious. If this continues, even if he is exhausted, he probably won't be able to hit Lin Mo. This guy is really weird. Super Saiyan beyond Super Saiyan, the speed and power are disappointing. Next, I will attack. The moment Lin Mo's faint voice fell, he suddenly punched out, and the speed was not fast. Humph! Even at this speed, I want to hit. Boom! Before Vegeta finished speaking, Lin Mo's fist had already hit Vegeta's temple. Vegeta flew upside down and returned to his normal state, completely losing his fighting power in an instant. But, damn it, how is this possible? I am a Super Vegeta who surpasses Super Saiyan, how can the gap between me and him be so huge? After Vegeta was hit hard, his head was buzzing, although he still had the strength to stand up. But there is no way to become Super Saiyan anymore. Do you understand the gap between us? Lin Mo walked up to Vegeta step by step, and asked with a smile on his face. What ability did you use just now? Vegeta gritted his teeth and asked. Although it was very embarrassing for him to ask such a question, he really wanted to know how he was defeated. It's very easy to know, take me as your teacher, I will not only tell you, but may teach you. Lin Mo still replied with a smile. Vegeta frowned, obviously wanting to refuse. But before he could speak, Lin Mo spoke first. Don't rush to refuse, let me tell you something. Son Goku in Hell has successfully become the 3rd level of Super Saiyan, and you, the Saiyan Prince, are only Super Saiyan 2 now, and you are still proud and self-righteous. It doesn't feel good to be surpassed by Son Goku and his son. After all, Son Goku is a low-level fighter, and you are the noble son of King Vegeta. Do you want to be stepped on by Son Goku all the time? Lin Mo said a lot in one breath. Every sentence hits Vegeta's heart. Vegeta clenched his fist tightly, digging into the flesh with his fingertips. He knew that Kid Son Gohan was able to become Super Saiyan 3, but he didn't expect that BD Kakarot to become Super Saiyan 3 in Hell. This is absolutely unacceptable to me. As Lin Mo said, he will never allow himself to be surpassed by Kakarot, a lower-level fighter. Hesitation, entanglement, struggle. All kinds of complicated emotions made Vegeta's face twisted together. After a full 10 minutes, Vegeta raised his head with an aggrieved face and asked in confusion, I recognize you as my teacher, can I surpass Kakarot and his son? Of course, if I teach you the ability I just displayed, you will definitely be able to surpass Son Goku. Lin Mo nodded and said with a determined face. Chapter 43. Lin Mo didn't say to surpass Son Gohan, because Son Gohan has developed his potential by himself, and his cultivation speed must exceed Son Goku's. As for how much potential Vegeta can develop, I don't know now, so I dare not draw conclusions too early. Okay, as long as I can defeat Kakarot and that brat, I will recognize you as my teacher. Vegeta gritted his teeth and his expression was as if he had killed him. Even worse than killing him, after all, with his arrogance, it is very difficult for a human being to be his teacher. But Lin Mo was not surprised. Vegeta is naturally very proud, but compared with his obsession to defeat Kakarot, his arrogance is still a bit insignificant. Otherwise, Vegeta would not be willing to be controlled by Bafidi before Majin Buu came out. Defeat Son Goku with that power-up. Fine, in a year's time, I'll turn you into Super Saiyan 3. Then, after eating, I will fight with you. Lin Mo directly threw a fairy bean to Vegeta. Starting from teaching Son Gohan, while I was training them, I was also practicing all the time. He has always controlled his battles similarly to the previous apprentices, and then practiced. When they can't take it anymore, I will defeat them with absolute strength, and then stimulate their fighting desire and anger. Boom boom. After Vegeta finished fighting, his strength was fully restored. Can I practice now? Vegeta said to Vegeta with a blunt tone. Obviously wants to be a little softer, but it seems like he's not very good at it. Ask again. Lin Mo suddenly said with a serious face. I said. Can I start practicing now? Vegeta gritted his teeth and asked a little angrily. Is this guy deliberately making things difficult for him? Ask again. If you can't even say hello, don't try to become stronger, sit back and wait for death. Lin Mo glanced at Vegeta coldly and said. Cut, you. Vegeta clenched his fist tightly, really wanted to go up and knock Lin Mo's head off. But in order to defeat that BD Kakarot, I still have to endure. Old teacher, can we practice now? A sentence was stammered out word by word from between Vegeta's teeth. It's okay now. Lin Mo nodded. Then he said silently in his mind, System, buy a spiritual time house with 1000 times the gravity combined with 365 times the time flow rate, and then buy 5 fairy beans. Lin Mo has looked at all these things before. The spiritual time room with 1000 times gravity combined with 365 times time flow rate needs 3000 reputation points. Unexpectedly, just the gravity has increased from 500 to 1000, and the required reputation point has doubled. Congratulations to the host, the spiritual time house has been successfully purchased, the voice of the system rang out from his mind. Let's go, Vegeta, I'll take you to a place where you can practice. After Lin Mo finished speaking, the screen changed again, and the two appeared in a vast white space. Vegeta looked at Lin Mo in disbelief, wondering if this guy is an alien with special abilities. System, spend 1000 reputation value to develop potential for Vegeta. Lin Mo ordered again in his heart. Ding! The potential of the host's 4th apprentice, Vegeta, was successfully developed. Vegeta gains 1500% learning ability, the electronic synthesis sound of the system sounded again. Lin Mo was a little disappointed, but it was also expected. Son Gohan has only been developed 20 times, and Vegeta has been developed 15 times, which is not bad. Okay, start training now, and the next one will be a year of training. It may be very hard, you have to be prepared. Lin Mo said to Vegeta with a serious face. TCH, in order to surpass Kakarot and his son, even if I die, let alone hard work. Vegeta tilted his head and said. That's great, I really like you, a lifeless guy. After Lin Mo smiled, he directly controlled his strength to the level of Super 1. Then they fought with Vegeta in an instant. The moment the battle started, Lin Mo had already started 500 times the gravity. And this kind of gravity has an effect on both of them, so while practicing Vegeta, Lin Mo is also cultivating his own fighting ability, skills, and experience. Preparations for the world's #1 martial arts association have already begun. Gohan, you must come back with another first prize this time, you know. In Baizai Mountain, I heard Shishi's voice from afar. Well, I got it, Mom, there is no match for me on this earth now. At this time, Son Gohan was about 1.8 meters tall and was wearing a black training uniform with the word MO embroidered on the front and back. There are bangs in front of his eyebrows, and his eyes are extremely sharp, which is not the image of Nobihan at all. Chapter 44. It looks a little rough, it is estimated that Son Goku was killed by the waves. In the spiritual time room, half a day had passed, and both Lin Mo and Vegeta had injuries of varying degrees. Moreover, the aura of both of them has been greatly improved, especially Vegeta, now it seems to be stuck at a 0 point, lacking an opportunity to break through. Why has it been so long, I haven't broken through Super Saiyan 3? Vegeta asked impatiently. It has been half a year, and although his aura has skyrocketed a lot, there is no sign of a breakthrough. This made Vegeta, who was already impatient, even more irritable. It's only been half a year, how long has it been? It seems that it took you 7 years to break through Super Saiyan 2. Lin Mo looked at Vegeta and said calmly. And, even I haven't defeated, let alone breaking through Super Saiyan 3. After speaking, Lin Mo attacked Vegeta again. Outside, the day flies by quickly. That BD Lin Mo, I don't know where he went, didn't he promise to come to me? Videl stood in front of the window of his own building, looked at the sky and said to himself. There is some anger in the words, but also some expectations. Miss Videl, Mr. Satan asked you to go there. When Videl was alone in a daze, Satan's Xiaomi came in and said to Videl. Dad, what did he want me for? Okay, I get it, you go out first. Videl responded, then tidied up, put on his martial arts uniform and went out. This day I was digesting what Lin Mo taught me, so I didn't go to see my father. It just so happens that you can go over now and ask Dad if he knows how to be angry. 3 minutes later, Videl was in the training room. Dozens of Satan's apprentices are training non-stop, while Satan himself is lying comfortably on the rocking chair, tasting the most expensive red wine. There are also a few beautiful young ladies who are giving Satan a massage. After Videl frowned, he walked over. Father, the world's #1 martial arts association is about to start. Is it really okay for you to not train like this? Videl asked suspiciously. She hasn't seen her father train for a long time, and she doesn't know if his body is okay. As a martial artist, if she doesn't train her body regularly, her functions in all aspects will decline very quickly, she is very clear about this. Hey Videl, Dad is the #1 fighting champion in the world, even if he doesn't need to practice, it's still a problem. Seeing Videl approaching, Satan said in a loud voice. I don't know if he is immersed in his own world, or if he thinks the audience is too easy to deceive. Anyway, if you play by yourself, you only need to chop a few bricks with your bare hands, and you will be able to let everyone see how powerful you are. There is no need to practice so hard at all. Seeing his father's confident appearance, Videl didn't say any more, and then began to ask questions that he cared more about. Dad, do you know what anger is? Gas. Satan was taken aback suddenly, and the golden arrogance of the keyboards around the bodies of those blonde-haired guys when he was fighting Cell came to his mind. The ability to crush a mountain with a casual roar, and then laughed out loud. Ha ha ha. Videl, although I don't know where you heard these nonsensical things, but Dad wants to tell you that those things are just deceptive tricks. Anyway, over the years, I have successfully fooled myself with this method. It seems that Dad really doesn't know what chi is. Dad, can you catch machine gun bullets with your bare hands? Videl asked again. Because Lin Mo can easily catch the bullets of 3 machine guns at the same time without getting hurt. Hey? Catching bullets with bare hands? Videl, what are you talking about? Although Dad is the world's #1 fighting champion, the human body has limitations after all. How could such a thing be possible? Satan smiled awkwardly, then waved his hand and said. It seems that Dad doesn't know anything. After shaking his head in disappointment, Videl walked out of the training room. Maybe in front of Lin Mo, Dad is not worth mentioning at all. Now she suspects that it wasn't her father who killed Cell 7 years ago, but those strange blonde-haired guys. It's time, we can go out. In the spiritual time room, Lin Mo said to Vegeta. Humph. Kakarot, son Gohan, wait for me, and soon I will let you know that the strongest scion is my son of King Vegeta with pure blood. Vegeta clenched his fists tightly, raised the corners of his mouth, and muttered to himself with a conceited look. Chapter 45. Ding! Congratulations to the host's 4th apprentice, Vegeta, who has reached level B. Therefore, the strength of the host has reached the level of A, rewarding 8,000 reputation points, and the system rewards a random skill, the comic version of Chi Yuan Zhan. The electronic synthesis sound of the system sounded from the mind. But Lin Mo was not too happy, because he was used to it, and it was expected. The current self should be comparable to Super Saiyan 4 in strength. This breath. Son Gohan was originally practicing with Piccolo, but suddenly his expression froze, and a look of horror appeared on his face. What's the matter, Gohan? Seeing Son Gohan's horrified expression, Piccolo hurriedly asked. For so many years, Gohan hasn't shown such a shocked expression for a long time. Could something big happen? A very familiar breath. Son Gohan suddenly spoke excitedly. This breath is very powerful and very familiar. Teacher, is the breath of the teacher. The horror on Son Gohan's face turned into ecstasy in an instant, and then he jumped up and disappeared directly in front of Piccolo. After 10 years, that guy Lin Mo appeared again. Piccolo frowned, then followed Son Gohan directly. Gohan seems to have spotted me, he's coming this way. Lin Mo raised his head, looked at a certain direction in the sky, and said lightly. Son Gohan? Come at the right time, I just want to see, the same as Super Saiyan 3, to see if he, the half-breed kid, is better, or I, Vegeta, are stronger. Vegeta clenched his fists tightly and said excitedly. In the past, his own strength was too weak, and he knew very well in his heart that he could not be Son Gohan's opponent. So I didn't even think about challenging him in the past, or competing for something. But now, he is also the 3rd Super Saiyan, and he has the ability to compete with Son Gohan. Call out. Just after Vegeta's voice fell, there was a sudden sound of piercing through the air, and Son Gohan's body appeared in front of Lin Mo and Vegeta. Old teacher, is it really you? Son Gohan looked at Lin Mo excitedly and asked. It has been 11 years since the teacher disappeared. I didn't expect to see the teacher today, so I was very excited. Long time no see, Gohan. Lin Mo looked at Son Gohan, smiled and said. The current Son Gohan has grown up and is very strong. His strength has also reached the level of Super Saiyan 3, but it is obvious that his Chi self-rescuer is far superior to Vegeta, who is also Super Saiyan 3. Teacher, where have you been for the past 11 years? I have never felt your anger. Son Gohan asked excitedly. 11 years ago, he felt the unfathomable Chi from the teacher's body. Unexpectedly, 11 years later, the teacher still made me feel unfathomable. I went to some other places and taught some other apprentices. Lin Mo replied simply. There is no need to tell Son Gohan that I went to another time and space, because that would be too troublesome. It will take a while to explain. Oh, it's great that the teacher is back. Teacher, after you left, many things happened on the earth. I will tell you about them later. Thinking of what happened in the past 11 years, I actually still feel a little guilty. Obviously, he has the ability to kill Cell at will, but he killed his father and became the leader of the cheating world. When I think about it, I feel angry and guilty. It is good. Lin Mo nodded perfunctorily, but he naturally knew what happened to the earth in the past 11 years. Hey kid, can't you see me? Seeing Son Gohan and Lin Mo chatting happily, Vegeta was not happy at the time. If I still have the same strength as before, it's okay to be ignored by Son Gohan like this. Now that he and Son Gohan's strength has reached the same water bottle, he still dares to ignore him like this, which naturally makes him extremely annoyed. Yo Vegeta-san, your strength has also improved a lot, it seems that the teacher taught you. Son Gohan didn't feel surprised, but smiled, looked at Vegeta and asked. Cut, you brat, can you not mention this matter? Vegeta gritted her teeth tightly, although she had accepted Lin Mo's identity in her heart. But when Son Gohan said this, he always felt that he was despised. The majestic Prince Saiyan actually had to rely on others to improve his strength. It's your honor to be taught by the teacher without such a reluctant look, Vegeta-san. Son Gohan looked at the aggrieved Vegeta and said seriously. Damn kid, I'll let you try the power of Super Saiyan 3 right now. Son Gohan's serious teaching voice made Vegeta instantly angry and wanted to attack Son Gohan directly. It's just that Lin Mo stopped him before he could make a move. Remember Vegeta, since I can help you improve your strength, I can naturally abolish you. Lin Mo looked at Vegeta coldly and warned. Naturally, I don't require my apprentices to be obedient, but I absolutely can't be presumptuous in front of myself. Chapter 46. Cut. Hearing Lin Mo's warning, Vegeta gritted his teeth tightly, feeling like he dared not speak out. He was indeed afraid of Lin Mo, because when he was practicing in the gravity room, Lin Mo felt like the sea. And in front of him, he was like a small boat in the sea, very small. So he really didn't dare to offend Lin Mo, because he has the ability to abolish himself. Vegeta-san, don't you just want to fight me? The world's #1 martial arts association will start in 3 days. If you can persist until the end, I will naturally have a chance to try your Super Saiyan 3 power. Son Gohan looked at Vegeta provocatively and said. Lin Mo looked at Son Gohan, the look in his eyes now is completely different from what he learned in Dragon Balls. Is it the #1 martial arts club in the world? Then I'll wait a few more days. Vegeta curled her lips, folded her arms and turned her head away. Teacher, let me take you to dinner. After finishing speaking, Son Gohan ignored Vegeta and said to Lin Mo, okay, it's been so long, you really should respect your filial piety as an apprentice. Lin Mo patted Son Gohan on the shoulder, smiled and said. Well, take the teacher to have a big meal today. Son Gohan nodded and said. Because I had participated in the world's #1 Budokai twice before, and both won the final championship. A bonus of 200 million, and a sum of money was severely extorted from Satan, the so-called world's #1 fighting champion. Of course, the premise is to pretend to lose to him. So although I am not as rich as Bulma's family, I still have no problem eating big meals. Then the two flew directly towards the city, and after Vegeta frowned, he could only follow. 5 minutes later, Piccolo arrived at the place where the three of Lin Mo were just now. Hoo. TCH, these guys are really annoying. Piccolo frowned and said. I had tried my best to come all the way here, but I didn't expect them to run away again. After shaking his head helplessly, he could only follow up again. 3 days passed in a flash, and Lin Mo taught Son Gohan a little during these 3 days. Then he also told him some ways to break through the bottleneck of Super Saiyan 3. There are 2 routes of Super Saiyan 4 and Super God. How to choose is up to him to decide. Gohan, didn't you go to college? Lin Mo asked curiously. Because if I go to university with what I have learned at this time, I will definitely know Videl. No, my mother used to force me to become a scholar every day, but since I won 2 championships in the world's #1 Budokai, my mother hasn't forced me anymore. Son Gohan shook his head and said. In fact, from the bottom of my heart, I still like to practice more. Because there is no shortage of great scholars and scientists on this earth, but there is a lack of fighters who stand up to protect the earth when the earth is threatened. So I want to be that kind of person. That's it. Your choice is correct, Gohan. If even the earth is destroyed, it is useless to be a scholar. Lin Mo nodded and said to Son Gohan. Affirmed Son Gohan's choice and practice. Well, Dad and Piccolo-san have the same point of view as the teacher. Son Gohan said firmly. By the way, today is the opening day of the #1 Martial Arts Association in the world, right? Lin Mo suddenly asked curiously. Son Gohan, Son Goku, Vegeta and others participated in this world's #1 Budokai. And there is also the arrival of Supreme Kai, which seems interesting. Yes, teacher, it's about time to start signing up. Father told me that he asked for a day off from the underworld, so that he could return to Earth for a day, just to participate in this world's #1 Martial Arts Association, and he probably will be coming soon. Son Gohan thought for a while and said. When Dad heard that teacher was going to participate in the world's #1 Martial Arts Association, he was eager to meet teacher. Okay, then you go to sign up first, I still have something to do, I will find you at the venue after I am done. After Lin Mo finished speaking to Sun Gohan, he flew away directly. At this time in the Satan Mansion. Miss Videl, the world's #1 martial arts association is about to start, haven't you signed up? Do you want to go there with Mr. Satan now? Outside the room, Mr. Satan's Xiaomi's sweet voice called. It's just that Videl is a little distracted now, and he doesn't have the heart to participate in the world's #1 martial arts meeting at all. Go away. Who wants to participate in such a boring thing? Videl yelled directly. Miss Videl, is this unhappy? Suddenly, a familiar voice of banter came into my ears from behind. Chapter 47. Lin Mo. Hearing that familiar voice, Videl was overjoyed suddenly, turned his head quickly and saw Lin Mo's figure. You, how did you come in? I didn't even hear the door open. Videl looked at Lin Mo in surprise and asked. Or was it because I was too absorbed in thinking about things just now, that's why I didn't hear the sound of Lin Mo opening the door? But it's not right, there are so many security servants and apprentices in my house, there is no way for strangers to come in. I don't even call the teacher, it's really not big or small. Lin Mo walked directly to the edge of the sofa, sat down, picked up an apple, and said slowly. You didn't teach me much, so you asked me to call you teacher, are you embarrassed? Videl pouted and said with some complaints. Until now, I have not learned how to control chi. Didn't I teach you how to control your anger? Lin Mo spread his hands and said with a smile. Videl didn't learn how to control his chi, which he expected. I didn't learn it. Videl lowered his head in embarrassment and said. I used to be called a martial arts genius by many people, but I didn't expect that the control of chi could not be done no matter what I did. It's okay, this kind of thing can't be rushed, I will learn it slowly. Lin Mo said it seriously this time. Hey, did you come here to teach me how to control my anger? Unfortunately, I don't have time today, because I'm going to attend the #1 martial arts association in the world soon. Videl said with some embarrassment. I have already signed up, so I must go to verify my strength, just like a budding. Are you also going to participate in the #1 martial arts association in the world? Lin Mo looked at Videl and asked. Yet. Any questions? No. Lin Mo shook his head, but he was thinking in his heart, Videl went to participate in the #1 Budokai in the world, wouldn't that be to worry about himself? Son Gohan and Vegeta and Son Goku guys are all there. What else can other Earthlings do? You are so powerful, you will also participate. Videl looked at Lin Mo and asked. Of course, I heard that the final winner will get a prize of 100 million. Lin Mo made an expression that regarded money as his life, nodded and said. I'm not interested in those bonuses, I just want to prove myself, my Videl's fame is not due to my father, but earned by myself. Videl said with a serious face. That speaking gesture is exactly the same as that of a rich second generation in Lin Mo's time and space. Okay. Let's go together, and I'll take you for a ride. After Lin Mo finished speaking, regardless of Videl's answer or not, he directly hugged Videl's small waist. With the sound of, the two of them instantly appeared in the venue of the competition. What? What's going on here? Am I dreaming? Videl rubbed his eyes vigorously, unbelievable. Shock. Unparalleled shock. She was still in her room just now, and then Lin Mo put her arms around her, and in an instant, she appeared at the venue of the world's #1 martial arts association. This is absolutely not true. You, how did you do it? Videl looked at Lin Mo eagerly, and asked very curiously. This Lin Mo is just like a maze, which is difficult to see through. I just cast an ability called instant transmission. Of course, you can think of it as a kind of cover-up. Lin Mo said calmly. Instant transmission. Videl was even more surprised. It turned out that he could get here from home in an instant because Lin Mo used instant transmission. But now she doesn't think it's a cover-up, but a real ability. Lin Mo, definitely a powerful and mysterious character. Teacher, I have already registered your name for you, but you may need to go to the dynamometer for a while. At this time Son Gohan came over and said respectfully to Lin Mo, okay, I'll go in a minute. Lin Mo nodded, secretly thinking that Son Gohan is quite careful. Hey? You are the one. Videl looked at Son Gohan, suddenly seemed to remember something, and pointed at Sun Gohan for a long time. By the way, you were the champion who lost to my dad at the number 1 martial arts association in the world 3 years ago, right? Videl finally remembered that this guy was also very good and easily defeated all the contestants. But in the end she still lost to her father, so she always felt that her father is the strongest man in the world. Losing to your father? Oh, you're Satan's daughter, aren't you? Sun Gohan thought for a while, then smiled and said. He lost to Satan, but he gave himself enough hush money, otherwise he would have knocked him out of the galaxy with one punch. Why do you look like you are not convinced by the loss? Looking at Sun Gohan's smile, she felt Sun Gohan's contempt and disdain for her father. Okay, let's go to measure strength. Lin Mo looked at the suspicious Videl and walked directly towards the dynamometer. Chapter 48. Let me tell you, my father's force measurement record is 137, and no one has broken this record in recent years. Videl said to Lin Mo while walking. It can be heard that Videl is very proud to have such a father. Then this year is probably going to be broken. Lin Mo said with a little embarrassment. 137 among the contestants this time, they are like ants. This year. That's right, maybe you can break my father's record. After looking at Lin Mo, Videl said. After all, Lin Mo can catch bullets with his bare hands, and he can smash a mountain easily. After the force measurement VIDEL 132 and Lin Mo 542, of course, this kind of abnormal data is considered by the staff to be a machine failure and is not counted. The next step is to draw lots. There are about 50 or 60 contestants, not many. Are you Lin Mo? Just when Lin Mo was about to draw lots, Son Goku came over and asked Lin Mo with a silly smile. Yes, I'm Lin Mo. Lin Mo nodded and looked at Son Goku. It's exactly the same as in Dragon Balls. It can be seen that when he looked at him, his eyes were burning with a burning desire to fight. I heard from Gohan that you are very good. I hope to have a chance to play against you soon. Of course there will be, but you have to persevere until the final. Lin Mo smiled and said lightly. Anyway, I came here for the championship. Well, in order to have a good fight with you, I will definitely be able to enter the finals. Son Goku clenched his fist and said with a firm face. Then came the lottery, and Lin Mo got a guy named Yamu. That's right, it's that Bafitti's subordinate, the guy who came to collect energy from the world's number 1 martial arts club this time. Son Gohan, Son Goku, Piccolo and Vegeta each drew their opponents. Next, the first round of this world's number 1 martial arts tournament will be held. Lin Mo will fight against Yamu. After the host's voice fell, a burly man with an M mark in his heart stepped onto the ring. Yamu doesn't look like a good guy, I must teach him a lesson in a while. Looking at Yamu with an evil smile on his face above the ring, Videl said to Lin Mo. Lin Mo didn't answer, but with a flash of his body, he appeared directly in the ring. The energy seems to be very ordinary, like waste. I'm not looking for you, get out. Yamu looked at Lin Mo, and said to Lin Mo with a gloomy face. The purpose of him and Spubik is to help Mr. Bafitti collect enough energy to revive Majin Buu. So they need a huge amount of energy, and obviously the human being in front of them doesn't meet their requirements. Lin Mo lowered his brows and smiled, without opening his mouth, he just waved at Yamu. Arrogant brat, let me kill you first. Yamu looked at Lin Mo's appearance, a devilish light flashed in his eyes. The next moment, he directly attacked Lin Mo. To be honest, because this guy is controlled by Bafitti, his strength has greatly increased, and he is definitely far superior to normal earthlings. It's just that the person in front of him is Lin Mo whose strength has reached grade A. The moment Yamu rushed over aggressively, Lin Mo raised his right hand, put his palm on Yamu's chest, and pushed gently. Click! At the same time as the crisp bone crack sounded, a clear palm print appeared directly on Yamu's chest, and the mouth completely collapsed. Call out! Rumbling. Then Yamu's body flew out of the ring at an extremely fast speed and smashed into the wall of the auditorium. Hiss! All the audience took a deep breath, and couldn't believe that the boy in black clothes knocked the burly Yamu into the air in an instant. Videl opened his mouth even more in surprise, with an expression of disbelief. This Yamu used to be his father's opponent, but he was only slightly weaker than his father. Now it seems that he should be stronger, but he was eliminated with a slight push by Lin Mo. Yay! Yamu went out of bounds, and Lin Mo won the first game. After being surprised for a while, the host shouted excitedly. That little guy who has never met before, seems to be very strong. Then I looked at Son Goku and his group. This time, the number 1 martial arts association in the world seems to be a bit interesting, call out. Lin Mo jumped back to the contestants' platform. You are too powerful. You eliminated Yamu all at once. Videl looked at Lin Mo adoringly, and said excitedly. Now she is more sure that Lin Mo's strength must surpass that of her father. It's just waste, how long will it take to waste? Lin Mo turned his head and asked back. Next, Son Goku, Son Gohan, Vegeta and others eliminated their respective opponents. After several fights, only Lin Mo, Son Gohan, Son Goku and Vegeta remained in the ring. Because Jebit and Supreme Kaio-ken were already eliminated by Vegeta and Son Gohan in the second round. Chapter 49. Humph! What a coincidence, both of you stayed till the end. Vegeta looked at Son Gohan and Son Goku with a little excitement and said. The purpose of his participation in the number 1 Budokai in the world this time is to fight Kakarot and his son. Let everyone know that I am the strongest scion, after all my bloodline is much nobler than theirs. Ah, I haven't seen you in a few years, Vegeta, your strength has also improved a lot. Son Goku smiled and said to Vegeta. However, I am not surprised by Vegeta's improved strength. This made Vegeta a little upset. At this time, the host's voice sounded. Okay, players Lin Mo, Son Goku, Son Gohan and Vegeta who entered the finals, please come to the stage to draw lots and decide the final opponent. After the host's voice fell, Vegeta took the lead on the ring and began to draw lots. But I am also praying in my heart, don't draw Lin Mo, otherwise I will definitely lose. Number 2, the player Vegeta drew is No 2. After seeing the number 2 ball in Vegeta's hand, the host said loudly to the audience. Teacher, go and smoke first. Son Gohan said to Lin Mo with a humble face. It is good. After Lin Mo nodded, he stepped onto the ring and grabbed a ball at random. Lin Mo drew the number 1 ball. The host's voice sounded, and Vegeta breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, I didn't meet Lin Mo, otherwise my trip would have been in vain. Then Son Gohan drew the number 2 ball, and Son Goku was naturally left with the number 1 ball. It's really unfortunate, brat, today I must beat you to the ground to let you know how good I am at Vegeta. Vegeta looked at Son Gohan proudly, and said with a sneer. Is it? The one lying on the ground by then is probably Vegeta-san. Son Gohan said with a relaxed face. That confident and rebellious look is completely different from Nobufan's. I have been a Super Saiyan for several years now. Vegeta-san only has such a short time, he can't be his opponent at all. Little brat with a quick tongue, let's see if you will be so rampant again. Vegeta gritted his teeth, looked at Son Gohan and said. When I saw the confident smiles of Kakarot and his son, I felt inexplicably angry in my heart. Next, in the first game of the semi-finals, player Vegeta will play against player Son Gohan. After the host finished speaking, he quickly left the ring and went to the side to explain. Because he knows very well that these guys are not fuel-efficient lamps. SHHHHH. The two appeared on the ring at the same time. Haha. Vegeta clenched his fists tightly, and a terrifying golden flame erupted from his body instantly. The whole arena began to tremble. Aha! With a final roar, Vegeta's golden hair fell directly to his back. Blue lightning lingered in the golden flames, Vegeta's eyes became more slender, but the brow bone disappeared. Wow, it turns out that Vegeta can also become Super Saiyan 3. Son Goku said with a surprised face. Originally, he just thought that Vegeta's aura had improved a lot, but he didn't expect to be able to become a Super Saiyan. That guy Vegeta really deserves to be called a fighting genius. Piccolo, Kellen and others looked at Vegeta in shock, and said in a deep voice. Of course, the most shocking ones are Supreme Kaio-ken and Jebit. After seeing Vegeta's transformation at this time, the eyeballs are about to fall out. They never thought that the Saiyan on Earth would be so powerful. This terrifying aura is not weaker than Majin Buu at all. Master Supreme Kai, what shall we do now? Jebit asked, frowning. Look again, the strength of that Saiyan seems to have surpassed that of Majin Buu. Supreme Kaio-ken looked at Vegeta with his eyes shining brightly and said. Maybe things are not so bad, if Majin Buu is resurrected at this point in time, maybe these Saiyans will be able to handle it. I didn't expect Vegeta-san to become Super Saiyan 3 right away. Son Gohan smiled and said to Vegeta. Humph, hurry up and become Super Saiyan 3. Let me show you that there is a gap between being a Super Saiyan 3. The corners of Vegeta's mouth curled up into a long arc, and he spoke with a conceited face. I also want to give this sentence to Vegeta-san, Super Saiyan 3, there is indeed a gap. After Son Gohan finished speaking, he easily turned into Super Saiyan 3. It's not like Vegeta, who needs to roar to successfully transform. Obviously, Son Gohan is much better than Vegeta in terms of chi control. At this time, all the audience in the auditorium were completely dumbfounded. It's like watching a magic show. Chapter 50. At this time, there was another person who was already in endless panic. That was Mr. Satan staying in the VIP lounge, and when he saw Son Gohan's face, he started to get scared. Then I saw Son Goku, Vegeta, and others, and the whole person was shrouded in fear. You must know that the person who really solved Cell was not himself. And now, those who participated in the #1 martial arts association in the world, no matter who they won the championship in the end, they would meet a very strong opponent. If they are all like Son Gohan, they can be dismissed with some money, then it's okay to say that if they only want to be the world's #1 fighting champion, they will be in trouble. Mr. Satan, which of the 4 finalists do you think will win the final victory? Xiaomi and the reporter next to him suddenly asked Satan. Ah! That! Haha, no matter which one of them wins in the end, it can't be my opponent, haha. Satan quickly stood up, put his hands on his hips, and hid his fear with laughter. In fact, he very much hoped that the guy in black would win in the end. Because when fighting against Cell, the other 3 people were there, so I knew their strength very well. But the guy in the black suit doesn't seem very strong. In the ring, Son Gohan and Vegeta have already fought together. At first, the 2 were indeed evenly matched, and neither of them took much advantage. But after a long time, Vegeta was obviously weak in follow-up and couldn't keep up with Son Gohan's rhythm. But, damn it, if this continues, I will definitely be defeated. Vegeta began to panic a little. Because Super Saiyan 3 consumes quite a lot of physical energy, and I have not fully controlled the energy of Super Saiyan 3, so the consumption is naturally faster. But that kid Son Gohan, his attack is getting sharper, as if his energy is increasing instead of decreasing. Boom! Just when Vegeta was thinking about how to deal with this situation, Son Gohan's fist hit Vegeta's chest heavily. Vegeta was shocked by the punch and retreated again and again, until he retreated to the edge of the ring before stopping. The mouth felt stuffy for a while, and it felt a little hard to breathe. Ha! Me! Ha! Me! Ha ha! Son Gohan squeezed out a calyx with both palms, and the terrifying energy gathered from the palms. Then blasted directly at Vegeta. Vegeta's complexion changed. Of course, he didn't dare to resist the Kamehameha wave of this level, so he quickly rolled away and hid aside. Barely dodged Son Gohan's attack, but his right arm seemed to be scratched a little, and the pain was unbearable. When the Kamehameha wave rushed towards the audience, Son Gohan swung his right hand up out of thin air and did not affect the audience. Vegeta looks like he's about to lose. Son Goku looked at the situation on the ring and spoke. If this continues, it will be difficult for Vegeta's energy to maintain the transformation of Super Saiyan 3. It can be said that winning or losing has been decided. Damn BD, also Super Saiyan 3, how could I lose to this brat? Vegeta roared, the veins on his body popped, and the breath burst out directly from his body. It's just that in this way, Vegeta's aura became even more unstable, as if he had gone crazy. Although the power is indeed stronger, the speed is greatly restricted. Swish swish swish. Vegeta kept shaking his fists at Son Gohan, but Son Gohan resolved them one by one. Moreover, Vegeta's physical energy consumption is particularly serious. You've lost, Vegeta-san. Boom. In the next second, Son Gohan blocked Vegeta's fist directly, and then pulled Vegeta's body hard, and at the moment he pulled Vegeta's body over, his right knee hit Vegeta's chest heavily. Boom. The moment the low crashing sound sounded, Vegeta's pupils constricted suddenly, with a disbelief and unwillingness on his face. I have already become a Super Saiyan 3, how could I lose to this brat? Then the golden arrogance around Vegeta disappeared, and he became normal, holding his belly tightly with both hands. Snapped. The next moment, Son Gohan kicked Vegeta's chest directly, and the shot was clean without any hesitation. Under that terrifying force, Vegeta was directly swept away by one kick. He fell heavily outside the arena. I actually lost, no. Unforgivable. Vegeta clenched his fists tightly. Humiliation, this is a huge humiliation for him. Of course, even with the anger burning in his heart at this moment, he also understands that there is still some gap between himself and Son Gohan. I don't want to admit it, but it's true. Vegeta was out of bounds, and the first winner of the semi-final was Son Gohan. The moment the host's voice fell, there was overwhelming shouts and applause from the auditorium. It seems that they haven't seen such a wonderful battle for a long time. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you are notified of future uploads. You can find the next parts in the playlist visible on the screen or on my channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.